On our last episode, the main topic was the impact temperature may have on your images. This episode, we explore the topic of framing.
Framing is an important factor for photography in general. Would this picture be as iconic if the person who shot it framed it like this? How about that one? We think not.
Framing also applies to astrophotographs. Most of the time, you can just crop your image and recenter the target during processing. But what about when you have more than one target?
We first came across this problem when imaging M95, which is part of the M95 group of galaxies. Now, we are facing the same challenge on this episode of Galactic Hunter. Spring and summer are coming. So let's get our last image of winter by spotting an owl.
And a surfboard? Okay.
Welcome to the 12th episode of Galactic Hunter.
Today we're going to be capturing the Owl Nebula and M108 if we're lucky. One of our big themes for today is going to be framing, which is going to be a little bit of a challenge because as long as we can fit both of them in there, I think we're going to do it right.
So we're going to use either this DSLR camera or our new ASI 1600, depending on the framing. So we're going to go home and do some tests on our computer and check the framing, and then we'll go image.
So the whole theme of this episode is to frame objects properly. It would be a real shame if we went out there and didn't get the results that we anticipated. So let's go check it out on the computer.
We can use several types of software to check how a chosen target will appear in the frame of our camera. For example, you can use Stellarium, Sky Safari, or even a website like astronomy.tools to simulate what you will see. So I have Stellarium here opened as well as Sky Safari. So in both you can see that this is my DSLR frame that I have entered in this settings, and the DSLR fits them both perfectly. Now if we switch to, let's say, the CMOS we have, oh, it also fits them perfectly. So actually we could use both of them. And if we switch to Sky Safari, I have both of them at the same time on the screen here. The small one is the CMOS, and the large square is the DSLR camera, the 70 Mark II.
It's a little surprising because we really thought that it wouldn't fit together the same way since it's not as large. But as you can see here, even the smaller CMOS is able to capture both targets in one area.
Yeah, because the CMOS is more cropped than the DSLR, and as you can see, they're both actually perfectly in there. Here is M108 and here is the Owl Nebula M97, and see, so we can actually use the CMOS today. I was expecting to use the Canon, but let's go with the CMOS.
This episode is really special and we're so excited for this target. Today will be our first time using our new CMOS camera. Well, it'll actually be our second time because we tried it out as soon as we got it, but we didn't really know what we were doing at the time. And the hectic wind cut it short. However, we got a surprising image of Thor's helmet.
There has been many nights ruined by the wind, so we made sure that this time we would be able to image during a night with perfect conditions.
Although the targets for tonight are not super bright, large, or impressive, we are still thrilled to capture them. Especially since we will be able to fill 2 spots at once in our Messier catalog.
Exactly! Tonight's image will also help our goal of filling out more slots than we did last year.
We arrived at our usual spot later than we prefer because we had to fuel up in more ways than one before arriving. Food and gas are a necessity after all, but it makes setting up our equipment more difficult now that it is dark. So keep in mind if you're new to the hobby and image far from home like us. So now we're here at Nelson's Landing and
Wait.
Something doesn't seem right.
Let's frame it right. There we go.
So now we're here to start this new episode, and we're here today actually testing out our camera for the first time, so hopefully we'll get some good results. We're not sure, but you know, the conditions seem right today, so hopefully we'll see when we're done.
Yeah, so we're doing the Owl Nebula and the Surfboard Galaxy. So let's try to frame them right and we'll see if we can make it.
This is our second time plugging in our new ASI 1600 camera.
Let's go to the ASI here.
One cable goes to the ASI Air so that we can capture images using the software on our iPad. A second cable goes to the filter wheel, where we have control of 7 filters, and the last cable connects to the Pegasus Astro Pocket power box. This little gadget distributes power from our deep cycle battery to our entire setup.
Okay, everything should be connected.
Truth be told, all these cables are more than what we're used to, so we had to make sure nothing was stuck. We hope to improve that over time, and we thank those for the recommendations from our Pocket Power Box review.
Okay. And then iPad.
Now, instead of using our laptop for the acquisition, which doesn't have enough storage to save our RAW files, we use the iPad connected by the Wi-Fi through the ASI Air, which has its own SD card. The software works really well and can be used to focus using a live preview. We are using our usual Batinov mask to focus on a bright star with the maximum zoom allowed on the software. In short, it's just like how we do it with the DSLR live view.
We're all set. All we have to do is to slew to our target. Or should we say targets, and listen to the sweet sound of the mount's motor.
So let's see if we can see it with just our naked eyes. Well, with the help of a telescope. It's a little hard for me to see.
Well, the light won't help. Wait, focus.
He's trying to trick me because he's trying to make this into a competition, and if I don't see the right thing, then he'll win.
Okay, look. Can you see anything?
Yeah. But I don't see it clearly.
Can you see both things or no?
Nope. Well, yes, I can. But I can't see them clearly at all.
Let's see. I see it. I see the ball of nebula. I don't see any details, but I also see the galaxy next to it. Well, it's pretty good to see. I mean, it's beautiful because you can see both next to each other, so that's great. So we're gonna play a game. Since we saw the nebula visually, kind of, we're going to try to each make a drawing, just like Lord Ross did, and see which one of us get it better. We'll see who wins. So Dalia, take a pen. You have one. I'll take a pen too. This badass notepad. We're going to try to draw it. So, right. Here's your paper. I'll take that. Okay, let's try your best at drawing it. Alright, I'm done. Are you done?
Yeah, Antoine's is probably going to be worse than mine.
Worse? Okay, wait. Alright, show the camera, not me. Let's both show the camera. So who do you think won? Okay, show me. Oh. Wait,
It looks like yours looks like a weird Spider-Man.
So who do you guys think won? I feel like I saw something in the middle between those two. white parts, but that did not. We'll see. For reference, here is what Lord Ross drew.
Awkward!
Okay, so we've been trying to find the owl for a while, because we got the M108 right here, and just found the Owl Nebula on the very edge here. So now we have to center those. So let's try to center it. I'm going to go to focus, so I have to be, 1 second is fine, I have to be down left. So let's try. Down left. Everything's inverted, so it's kind of hard. Nope, wrong way. Okay, a bit more. A bit more. Now to go down, I think if I press up, I'm gonna go down. Nope. If I press down, I'm gonna go down. Alright, let's try another time. Focus, preview, 10 seconds. Let's see if we are centered. It seems like downloading. Okay, the surface here. Oh, I need to go way more. So more left and more down. So I'll try this and we'll see. Messier 97 was discovered in February 1781 by Pierre Méchain. Its nickname, the Owl, was given by William Parson in 1848, inspired by the drawing he made of the nebula with two big eyes.
This object may be very small, dim, and unimpressive, but it is nonetheless a popular target for astrophotographers. I mean, let's face it, the owl looks a little boring by itself, but adding a nearby galaxy like M108 enhances the image when you see both in the photograph. Messier 108 was also discovered by Méchain, just 3 days after spotting the owl. It is seen almost edge-on, like a plate, giving the appearance of a surfboard. It is classified as a barred spiral galaxy with loose arms.
Both of these objects can be found in the constellation of Ursa Major, near the bright star Merak. Although it is quite small, observing M97 and M108 with just an eyepiece is pretty rewarding because of their proximity with one another. So we have some really bad coma on the edges. I think it's because I forgot to put the adapter between the filter wheel and the camera. But we spent a long time trying to center this, so I think, you know what, we'll whisk it. As you can see here, it's really bad. And also next to M108. But you know, it's our first time really with this camera out there, so we'll just risk it and try to do some magic post-processing. And we'll see, because I don't want to stay here for more than 4 hours. Dalia is here too, and she has school tomorrow, and I have work, so yeah.
We'll make do with what we can.
Spoiler alert, this was a huge mistake. We should have taken the time to add the adapter, refocus, and reframe. Truly, it's a bummer, but what's done is done. As you can see here in the ASI 1600s manual from ZWO, we can use any combination of these adapters to achieve the optimal back focus distance for this camera, 55mm. If we had done it correctly, our attachment would have looked like this. Instead, by forgetting the adapter between the filter wheel and the camera, it looked like that. Can you spot the difference? Yeah, it's not there.
Having the camera directly attached to the filter wheel is a good method to avoid any extra vignetting around the edges. But we should have found a way to keep a total of 55mm of back focus.
It's really close to the wires.
Despite that issue, the ASI Air was really easy to use. We're still learning what our new camera can do, so we haven't touched any of the binning options or changed the gain, which was set at 139. We have done 180-second exposures, which is 3 minutes per shot, with our R, G, and B filters. We set up the app to take 10 shots per each filter, which we doubled once it was completed.
Our guiding was completely fine this time, as it was a quiet night. We didn't want to risk taking the iPad with us in the car in case it lost its Wi-Fi connection, but we realized the next day when imaging M106 that it would have stayed connected without any problems.
It's going pretty well. Some guiding as well. I mean, so-so as always, but...
We imaged for a total of 3 hours. We wanted to stay a bit longer, but we had to be responsible because we both either had school or work the next day.
In the last hour, we stayed in the car and discussed what we'd like to image next, and tried to think of some cool ideas for future videos. And then a moth stopped us mid-brainstorm.
And no, I didn't scream like in one of our previous videos. This is a tiny telescope in the mountain. Okay, so since we have some time to kill here, let's talk about our favorite YouTubers, astro-related YouTubers. So let's pick our 3 or 4 best ones just because. So we really love Scott Manley. Fly safe, of course. He has so many videos about NASA in general and astronomy in general, and it's really awesome. Kerbal Space Program and all that, all those astronomy videos, astronomy video games. More into astrophotography related, we also like Chuck's astrophotography YouTube channel, which has so many tutorials, and I think like almost every time where I had to ask YouTube, you know, how to do this, how to do that, I would always find one of his videos, and yeah, so go check him out. I'm sure you already seen a ton of his videos already because there are so many tutorials out there on all the equipment and stuff, and that's really awesome. And who else do we follow? Oh yeah, Dylan O'Donnell. That guy is really, really funny, so if you want to really have a good laugh, go check his channel out. I'm pretty sure he lives in Australia. He has his own observatory in his backyard or in his front yard, and he does so many great images with that, and I'm kind of jealous actually, because I really want to have my big dome as well, one day maybe. And who else do we follow? Oh yeah, he doesn't have many videos online, but Nico Carver has a really great YouTube channel. I mean, just look at his M42 from A to Z and you will see it's just so in-depth, and for any beginner, you would learn so much from his videos. So yeah, those are, I think, the 4 people we follow the most on YouTube in the astronomy field as of now.
With M97 and M108 being so close to Polaris, we were able to take a picture full of star trails around the North Star just behind our telescope. It's something that we've always wanted to do. The time-lapse itself turned out to be beautiful.
We are often completely exhausted when it's time to pack, and Dahlia's paranoia increases throughout the night from the sounds of wildlife and weird thoughts that she starts scaring me. Tonight we are going back home with 11 luminance files as well as 20 R, G and B files ready to stack, totaling a total of 3 hours and 33 minutes of exposure.
Just 1 hour after packing, we find ourselves no longer surrounded by wildlife, but by city lights. As much as my paranoia gets me, once we hit the highway, we both start to think about the next time we'll be under the stars. It's always rough staying awake until we get home so we can get some proper sleep before having to get up again and starting the rewarding yet stressful step of processing our images.
So I never tried this before, but I'm going to try taking darks with the ASI. I think I will just do it right here with my battery plugged into it and put the cap on and just, you know, do minus 20 degrees like we did on the field, and should be fine.
To take darks, we reconnect our battery to the Pegasus Astro Pocket Power Box to turn on the camera and the ASI again. Then, with the cap on, we make sure that the camera reaches negative 20 degrees to match the temperature we use during imaging.
Honestly, this was a relief to us, as we are used to taking our darks with a DSLR either in the desert, meaning we had to spend extra time there before going home, or on our balcony, making sure to keep an eye on it every few minutes. You never know who may walk by and get curious.
After that, we transferred all our files to the computer and hoped that the comma wasn't as bad on a bigger screen.
Okay, so we put our files on PixInsight. This is the blue filter all stacked together, and the framing is perfect. The owl is right here and the surfboard is here. It's just perfect, but this comma on the edges is terrible. On the iPad it looked okay, but on the big screen like this it looks...
Well, I guess that's really a shame, because we're gonna have to trash all of the files and we're not gonna air this episode. Sorry!
Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to try to crop this image, but I'm sure even if we crop it, you know, the comma is still there, like it's inside the nebula almost. So it's going to be really hard, and I really like this bright star, which we're going to lose for sure. Yeah, let's try.
First, we'll reveal our final image of M97 and M108, and then we'll break it down a bit.
Here is the Owl Nebula and the Surfboard Galaxy, taken with 3 hours and 33 minutes of total exposure.
Truthfully, we are really sad about the shape of the stars on the edges, which we weren't able to fix in PixInsight.
Sad, but true. You know what? This means that this episode doesn't get a cool and mystical soundtrack like our other episodes.
But this is a good thing. We may not have the image quality we were hoping for, but what matters most is that we will never make this mistake again.
Right. We've made countless mistakes in the past that have ruined our images, like forgetting the cap on our guiding scope or not balancing the mount properly. But we learned from those mistakes.
At first, we were unsure if we should keep this result for the main episode. But we decided to embrace it and display the importance of not rushing your outings and practicing mindfulness, aka not forgetting anything.
We will eventually update this targets page on our website with a better image whenever we have the time to revisit these targets, so keep an eye out for it.
And now it is time to choose a target for episode 13.
How about revisiting a target with our new camera? We have already captured M8 a long time ago with our old Canon T3i, and the results were okay. This time, the results should be much more colorful and impressive. The question is, will you pick number 1 to see how both cameras compare?
If you would prefer something new, let's shoot a target that is not far from the lagoon, the Omega Nebula. Also called the Swan Nebula, M17 is very similar to the Ryan Nebula, but is seen edge-on. Capturing the core of the nebula seems very easy. The challenge will be in getting as much of the faint outer gases as possible.
We have never tried imaging a planet with our new camera. Will we finally be able to get a good photo of one? How will it compare to the results that we've taken with our DSLR camera?
Okay, so we didn't really get a good final image in the end, because there is so much coma on the edges. But it's okay, you know what, we showed you guys how important it is to not forget any piece of equipment, even if it's small, and not rush into things. So, you know, it's a lesson for us too. And we'll try again next time on the same target, not next time, but in the future, and hopefully get a better image in the end.
Right. But for now, you can definitely look forward to the next episode of Galactic Hunter, which is going to be super special, but we're not going to tell you why.
So vote in the comments below for your preferred target, and we'll see you next time. And click. Wait.
Clear skies.
Wait. And clear skies. And
I don't...
clear. Again.